All right,
Good evening. Welcome to week 6, final week.
final week. Here we go. Woohoo! So, I guess to kick it off, we've got a past metabolic balancer on the
Well,
line. We've got a
Past metabolic balance.
well, I think you're always once a metabolic balancer.
Always a metabolic balancer.
So yeah, do you want to introduce Rob and just tell about Rob's story a little
Yeah,
bit?
so we'd like to introduce Rob. So Rob is actually a friend of ours as well. And as a lot of you that are listening will probably know, is that I never really tell friends to do the program. They need to come to me and decide that it's the right thing for them. And started working, I think we were just discussing that Rob started his journey with metabolic balance in February 22 was when we first discussed about it. And I think Scott and I I'd been on metabolic balance for a couple of years at that point.
Yes, 2019.
And Rob came along and decided to go on his journey with us. Because knowing Rob so well, I decided that it probably wasn't ideal that I was his practitioner. So Rob worked with Sarah at the time. And Rob's been on the metabolic balance journey for a while. So yeah, would love to hear a little bit from Rob as well about his experiences.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Scott. Hey, Katie. I look back at the dates, Karen. It's actually February 2022, and I remember I had pretty low energy. I think when we did my bloods, my cholesterol was high, my white count was low. So there's a couple of outliers there that we addressed, and I think for me it was I'd done diets before. But for me, it was the level of detail working with Sarah, the level of detail that helped me get into it. And it was very, very structured. So I think I'll say the first round, and I know it's a lifestyle and I follow the lifestyle, but with my work, I travel a lot and there's a lot of kind of like, customer entertaining. So unfortunately, I'm not super disciplined. And so I think the first time I came to see you, I was around 93 kilos. And then over the 12-week period, I got down to 82 kilos. And it was probably the lowest weight I'd been for maybe 15 years. And my energy returned. I was very confident, because I wasn't feeling uncomfortable. I had old clothes that fit, which was great. But the really cool thing with metabolic is when I do laps a little bit, it allows me very quickly to come back. And an example that I'll make is I was traveling quite a lot in September and October, and I got back on the 30th, the week before the 30th of October, and I was 95 and a half kilos.
Sorry, just interrupting, Rob, but when you say travel, define your travel, because travel's not Sydney and back for you. What's your travel?
Maybe just describe your travel maybe over that month of October or September.
So there's quite a bit of domestic travel, guys. So I'll be in Sydney one week and then Melbourne the next. But then I was in the UK. I then came back and did Melbourne for a week and then was in Dubai for 10 days. So it's a lot of living in the hotels, and I'm sure everybody appreciates a really good buffet breakfast. But a lot of entertaining. So you work a lot, and then the evenings, and so my 5-hour gaps between the meals were a little bit messed up. Probably a little bit of personal gluttony when you see something really nice and you eat it. So I came back, probably the heaviest I'd been for a while. I was 95 and a half kilos.
Wow.
So that was the end of October, and I weighed myself this morning at 89.2.
Okay.
So it allows me, guys, to flex really, really easily back into a healthier lifestyle. And as an example, I enjoy my food, and on the plan, I always think I'm eating a lot, Karen. And it tastes really good. So this morning I had oat bread with avo and 2 scrambled eggs. I had a blueberry, raspberry, and coconut water kind of juice. For lunch, I had a tuna salad with just a small handful of almonds, and then tonight's grilled fish. So I maintain that that 5-6 hours between, and I've drunk about 2.5 liters of water today. So and I find it's very easy to stick to that. And I'm really pleased. I'm back down below 90 kilos, and you know,
That's
I'm feeling
incredible.
good again.
That's
So
awesome.
for me, it's really, I love the journey that I went on initially, but when I slip a little bit, it's really easy. I get my folder out. It's really easy just to hook straight back into it.
I was going to say, do you actually go back and refer to your plan,
I
or
do.
yeah, you do? Yeah. And then, but how much of it's, I guess, now learnt, or,
Yeah,
basically.
it's a really good question, Scott. I'll refer back to the notes in my folder for for guidance. But I think knowing the weight of the foods, the gap between the foods, what to eat when and how. You're right. It's a bit of a learned behavior now. So I find it really easy to do. And I find the results come quick. The first 2 weeks I find is always a little bit of a challenge because you don't see any difference. But sticking with it, and like I say, I'm 5-6 weeks in now, and I know that there's probably another 3 or 4 kilos to go, and I'll be really comfortable at that.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, and again, because we know you so well, you are an all or nothing person. And full disclosure on this call as well, although Katie and Rob are sitting in opposite rooms, they are related as well. So Katie,
judging by how much we talk.
But you're an all or nothing kind of person, and when you commit, and I guess that's what I love about metabolic balance, is that when you focus, the results will follow. So you come back from your trips and then you go, okay, it's time to focus, and you'll get the results you need. So that then when, I guess, the lines get a bit blurry, when the travel kicks in, when holidays kick in and things don't sort of always follow the same principles, then you just know what to do to come back. And metabolic balance is not about being perfect. It's about focusing where you can and getting the results that you need when you need them. But also knowing, and interesting, Rob, when you so obviously you did all this travel and then you came back and you weren't feeling comfortable. What other symptoms were you noticing then that you don't notice when you're on metabolic balance? Oh, mute. You're on mute.
My sleep pattern was really quite disrupted.
Yep.
My energy levels were really low. And to give you an example, we had a family function at the end of October when I came back. So that was me at the end of October.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So as you can see
send
now,
me these photos.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a marked difference, and I just feel a lot more confident, and my clothes fit again. It's great.
And a lot of that puffiness that I see in people, a lot of that's inflammation, and it's inflammation from that lifestyle of not always not getting the sleep. Obviously you were going through multiple time zones at the time, and no matter how good a traveler you are, multiple time zones, timing changes, being on planes, that sort of thing, it has a massive impact to the body, and this level of inflammation comes up and you just feel puffy and bloated. And then when you get back on and you start following the guidelines, you flush with the water, you start getting back into sleep, that inflammation just goes down.
Yeah, you can tell that's an incredible, even that photo, just, unbelievable. Mate, we know you've got to jump off and jump onto another international call. So I guess, the main aim in getting you on was just to really show and discuss around this lifestyle that we create through MB, and that, there's those times where, MB creep, as we call it, that, it kicks in, and but it really is a plan for more or less for, across your life in terms of the rules and things like that. I mean, of course, you can get new bloods and go through it all again, and you're going to talk about, doing the detox again and stuff like that, what it means. And you didn't detox this time, Rob, did you? You just basically got into clean eating.
No, I cut down on the alcohol, Scott, because obviously when you're traveling and hotels, so I cut down on the alcohol, and I literally went back to my program. And because of the type of food and the volume of food, I'm never hungry. And it's just, for me, there's a little bit of discipline around trying to stop the grazing midday and the snacking, because I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I think once you're into like the second or third week and you start seeing some results, it just adds to that level of motivation to continue.
Kicks in.
So
Yeah.
I know I'll slip a little bit over the Christmas period, as everybody
Yeah,
does.
well, you got a fair
Um,
bit on. You're about to travel Europe, right? And go to
Yeah,
weddings.
yeah, off to Europe again, mate. But the nice thing being is when I come back, I know that I'll just fit straight back in, and I
Yeah.
know the results. I know the results are there. So
Just in terms of that grazing bit, and I know you've got to go because you've got another meeting, but what are some tips that you do for yourself to stop the grazing?
to be honest, Scott, I never drink enough water. So when I am feeling a little bit peckish, I hit the water, and
Yeah.
I know it sounds daft, but that kind of fills me a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
And yeah, there's plenty of distractions when I'm working, so I just hook back into work. And
Yeah.
I think there's a level of discipline there just to stop the grazing. For me, as soon as I start to see the results, it's a really good motivator for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those first couple of 3 weeks, I have to dig really hard.
Yep.
But after that, you start seeing the results. It becomes a lot easier.
No, that's great. Mate, thanks for your time.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate
No
it.
worries.
And
Thanks
for
for
the drop
including
in.
me.
And good luck with your international calls this evening. And yeah, speak to you real soon.
Thanks so much, guys. Been a pleasure.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Lyndall. Hey, Jackie. How are you?
Hi.
We got a lot of crowd. There's a few
Yep.
Christmas parties happening that people told us they were dropping in on and those sorts of things. So yeah, so they're off doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
what's
so I
on-
think I know that Jackie and Lyndall, I think you came in at the sort of the end of Rob. So we had Rob on. So Rob, as I just mentioned, has been a friend for many years. I think we have known Rob well and Katie for so Lily, who most people know is my daughter, 22. Her and Ben, Katie's brother, started in kindy together. Which is how long we have known them. And yeah, like it was one of those journeys that Rob has seen, sort of our journey with Metabolic Balance, and then he jumped on to the program. And Rob is one of those. I have a lot of clients like Rob that did the journey, saw incredible results, and then life kicks in and family trips kick in and travel kicks in, and the focus sort of comes, sort of moves away, and then
jump back on,
come back on and sort of refocus. And that's really the essence of what I love about Metabolic Balance. I'd love everybody to follow it every day, the 3 meals a day, the 7 days a week, but that's not life, and that's not going to happen. But what I want people to do is know that in the back of their mind, they've always got these guidelines, they've always got this focus. And even on a daily basis, if they're maybe having an extra coffee or there's a glass of wine, if they're having 3 meals a day, if they're drinking their water, if they're having an apple, it is still so much more than they were doing when they weren't, and they didn't know about the metabolic balance principles. So it's kind of this fine line of, if you've got a goal and you want to go for the goal, be focused, be 100%. That's how you're going to get there. But if you want the lifestyle, it's really about tailoring the guidelines to fit into your life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that makes me, I guess, happy, is when I see my clients and they come to me and they go, oh, but I'm still having my 3 meals a day. I might not be doing everything else, but I'm having 3 meals a day, or I'm drinking my water. And the amount of people that will come back to me after a while and go, I still have an apple every day. So it's those 8 guidelines that stick, that become habitual.
Yeah.
Which is
pretty interesting, especially. And I find for me the easiest meals to control is breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
Usually working from home, it becomes a lot easier to then just, basically have those 2 meals, and then that sort of sets you up then to that.
And
so,
I think if you set yourself up with a good breakfast, that does set
the day up.
It's like the whole making your bed when you get up in the morning. I am very much the bed has to be made in the morning, because it sets my day up. I've achieved that one
Even
thing
if
of
I'm in
making
it,
my
even
bed.
if I'm in it, that's it.
Oh, you
I'm
get
out. Jackie's not. I've got a feeling Jackie's.
I've got a feeling Jackie's not a make your bed in the morning kind of person.
Oh, dear.
But it's just those kind of little habits. So like setting yourself up with a good breakfast. If you have a good breakfast, you're less likely to snack through the day because you feel satisfied with what you have. Whereas if you skip breakfast or you have a bowl of cereal, it's probably only going to last you about an hour's worth of energy, and then you're going to crash and you're going to grab something else again.
Yeah. Shifting speed. Oh, you go, Katie.
Sorry, I just had one more thing to add with the rules as well. I think they're probably the easiest thing to set the tone for other people that you live with. So I know that Karen and Scott spoke about it with ordering when you go to a restaurant and being the first to order and setting the tone for the meal.
Yeah.
I think often in the morning, if I wake up and Dad's done his breakfast and it's a metabolically balanced breakfast, a lot of the time, or juice or whatever it is, he'll say, would you like one? A lot of the time the option is, oh, I'm getting a juice made for me. Absolutely, I'd love one. Opposed to me making it where I'll put yogurt and milk and do this, and like it's not necessarily metabolically balanced. So I think being that first person and setting the tone, I'm sure a lot of people also cook for their families and for their loved ones. So often being that person that kind of initiates the meal preparation, the meal planning, whatever it is, kind of does set the tone for the family. And the rules are the easiest thing to kind of translate to other people.
Yeah, it is interesting. We had a Friendsmas on the weekend, and Rob and Claire, Katie's mum and dad, came along, and some other close friends. And actually, we set the tone pretty early on that we weren't drinking. So we had like a glass of bubbles, and that was pretty much it. Because essentially, Rob was really. He just came out and said it. He said, look, I'm saying super focused. I want to be, and part of their trip over the Europe is a wedding. And he just declared it straight away. And it was like, okay, cool. Yep, let's all roll that way. So that kind of, that worked for us all, which is super fun. And yeah, it was a great night. Katie, shifting gears over to your good self in terms of, I guess, we've had some good feedback from various people commenting on the exercise programs, which is fabulous. So I guess we wanted to, get you to have a discussion with us over where to from here. I mean, this is the last round of Vitality. So how do we keep ourselves moving? How do we keep ourselves motivated? What have you got for us?
So I've made a card. So after this, everyone can have a look at it. But I've got a few little tips. So I've got a weekly planner that I think is the most helpful way for me. So at the beginning of the week, I associate a day to a different movement or a different thing. So say on Wednesday, I'll go for a walk. On Monday, I'll do a strength workout. Now, easier said than done. So in the card, I've established 3 mini like go-to workouts. So I've got an upper body one, a lower body one, and a full body one. So they can be for everyone to kind of draw on when they move away. And these are the go-to ones. You can mix and match them. You can change it to suit you. If you've got a certain movement that you want, send me a message and we'll come up with an exercise for it. But having those workouts set out at the beginning of your week and having that weekly plan is probably like my biggest takeaway. Often I will create a monthly plan, so a 4-week one, and it'll have the little layout with the workouts, and I will just loop that around, because by the time you've done those 4 weeks, chances are you will feel stronger, you will feel better in the movements, your mobility, flexibility, whatever you're working on will have improved. So you'll see progressions, which, like we spoke about with Dad before, progression is obviously the biggest reward for you, and seeing those improvements in yourself can be so helpful. So using that 4-week kind of rotation works really well for me. In terms of seeing progress and kind of feeling that warm, fuzzy feeling where you say, okay, I've really improved in this, setting up a reward system or a kind of monitoring system so you can monitor how you feel in workouts. So I've put it in a couple of the cards previously, but I've got it in this one as well, is a rating of perceived exertion scale. So the idea is you rate how hard you think you're working in that workout. And obviously it's going to change the fitter you feel, the more comfortable you feel with movements. But after each workout, you just rate the overall workout. You can do each exercise if you feel that would be helpful, and kind of go in a incline push-up. I felt a 6 out of 10 today. and then in 3 weeks' time it's a 2 out of 10. It kind of gives you that range to kind of know when to progress things and to know when you're improving, and it gives you that kind of benchmark for yourself to kind of know, okay, I can do this. Last time it was a 6, this time it was a 7. What's up with me this week? Well, how am I feeling? What's happening? So having that system in place will be really helpful. And then the other one is building that accountability network. So having people that you work out with, having people that you communicate with once you've done a workout, once you've moved your body. And I use the word workout pretty loosely because it doesn't have to be a strength session. It can be a walk. It can be a swim in the ocean. It can be a game of social tennis. It can be absolutely anything movement based. Anything in a group, anything with someone is really, really helpful. So having that accountability network. And then something that I love and will do often to kind of rejig my passion for movement and to kind of build up that want to move again. So I'll revamp my movement space. I'll move all my things to be outside. I'll move all my things to the beach and do a workout. I'll go to a local park and do a workout. Because often, and it's the same principles if you're studying something or you've got some work to do, and locking in and giving yourself an office space or going to a library, changing your location and changing, say, who you're doing it with or 1 or 2 movements in it, providing yourself with that variety is going to be the most helpful thing to kind of keep that routine going.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we got to do more of that, dear, don't we? We've got
Absolutely.
to have our
I think I
movement
said
dates.
last week, 2025 is my year of movement.
Look out. That means I'm in trouble. So, yeah, but thanks, Katie. We've got a couple of book recommendations, I suppose, that we've dug out. So for those, we're heading to Christmas, and if you want to tuck into an interesting book around the whole metabolic balance, I'm just going to share my screen very, very quickly. Got a couple of books here. Excuse my sort of agricultural little what's it called? What do they call it? PowerPoint. So basically, there's a metabolical, which is a bit of a view, or it looks into the ultra processed and processed food movement and what it's doing to our bodies from a metabolic perspective. So that's recently come out. So definitely I'm going to grab this one and have a good read. And then the other one,
for those that don't know as well, like obviously there's books and there's reading books, and what I find is that a lot of people being time poor or spending more time on the road, also considering these as audio books. And if you have a Spotify premium account, a lot of these books are actually available for free as part of your Spotify premium account.
Yeah.
It gives you a limited amount of hours you can listen to. I think I was listening to some books when we were driving to Melbourne last time, and I actually ran out of hours. So I actually had to buy some hours, 15
hours per month, yeah.
But per month, but that's usually enough to actually get some good kind of car reading audiobooks into it as well. So I know we've had an Audible subscription as well, but I didn't realize that it came as part of the Spotify premium, so you don't have to pay for an extra one.
Yeah, so Metabolical is on Spotify. So if you've got a Spotify account, Metabolical is on there. I've also been recently as well, actually, believe it or not, listening to the audiobook and reading the book at the same time. And I found that to be really cool. What I actually do is I put it on 1.2 speed, and it's actually quite cool.
Yeah, not for me.
I spend 10 minutes a day reading, listening and reading a book, and which means by the end of that, what is that class code? By the end of the 10 minutes, if I do that for 30 days, I've read, it is roughly about 10 pages. Yeah. So I've read 300 pages. I read a book a month. So it's just a really cool way to start the morning and do something new. The other one is Good Energy, and this one is more focused on the benefits of, so Metabolical is more in and around a bit of an investigation into the ultra processed foods and what it's doing to your body from a metabolic perspective, and a talk about that and what you can do about it. Whereas Good Energy is more linking between what it is, what else can happen with
when
with
living a
effective
metabolically balanced
yeah.
lifestyle, what impact that then has on that energetic kind of life health.
Yeah. So that one's definitely more a focus on the positive aspects of it. Metabolical, I mean, sometimes these books can be so too narrow focused, you know, blaming big pharma and big whatever. But still, there's some certainly good stuff in those ones. So worth putting on the Christmas stocking list to have.
And although we haven't showcased it, another book which I absolutely love, and there's a lot of YouTube videos on this guy as well. There is a book called Ultra Processed People. And it is, and I'm sure a lot of people would have actually seen the guy that has written this book. He is a UK doctor. He is a twin.
Yeah.
And what I love about him is that he very much talks about the world we're living in as being an ultra processed world, and that we are going to be consuming a lot of these ultra processed foods, but also explaining that it's not our fault. It's been there, it's a science experiment, but yeah, like you have to actually listen to it. But he's got quite a good YouTube presence as well. He does lots of shorts and things like that. And I think it's just a really good way to actually understand the world we're living in with this kind of food noise that's around. I think Scott's just trying to I think just maybe share that one at the
I will,
page.
I'll share the screen so that way it's on the recording and we can get everyone to have a look at it. This one's actually a good read.
And the one thing I would sort of say is anybody with children, grandchildren, things like this is an absolutely fascinating read about what goes into our foods and the foods that we ultimately are feeding our next generations without knowing that we are doing it. And he is definitely not an advocate of he will never feed his children this food.
No.
He is very much an advocate of we should be told about what is in these foods that we're eating.
Well, in fact, he advocates to continue to eat the food while you're reading the book. And then he basically, what happens is you make your own mind up as you're reading the book. So it's a super interesting, that one. And then he's got, there's a really, really good YouTube video of him. I think he's giving a talk to...
It's that first one, I think, the harsh reality of ultra-processed food.
Yeah, this one, which we'll share through the... Like, absolutely watch this. It's a real eye-opener. Effectively, he coins it that we're in the world's biggest... We're participants in the world's biggest science experiment that we never signed up to and we never knew about. And then he talks about what's happening in the food industry and what it's doing. But he certainly, I find it quite a balanced view. And he basically writes the book in quite a passive way. He's not really bashing anyone, so to speak.
Not at all.
He's just trying to raise awareness. So there you go. That's another one. So there's a couple of book recommendos.
I will chuck them all in a card with the video as well.
Thanks,
so
Katie.
everyone can have a look and download them. There'll be links to download everything.
And the one thing I would preface all of this is, like, with ultra processed foods and things like that, although they should never have been introduced into our diet, our bodies have multiple mechanisms that allows our bodies to process things that it was never designed to process. It's just when it gets overloaded and when it is constant that the body can then not keep up with that, and that's when disease and things will take over. So it's definitely not you have to avoid this. It's a scary world out there. We can't eat anything. We've got to be so mindful. It's more just being kind of mindful about that. And there's very much a difference between, so you've got a whole food. And to me, a whole food is pretty much as it comes off a plant, as it comes out of the ground. It is what an apple is, a whole food. You then have processed food. So apple sauce, so cooking an apple, breaking it down, even if you use water, is a processed food. That is no longer a whole food. It's gone through a processing. Now, if you take that apple sauce and you add various chemicals into it to stick it in a jar and keep it on a shelf for 4 years, you've turned it into an ultra processed food. And that's the things we want to avoid. So it's kind of also kind of going, processing of foods is not bad. Eating a steak is a processed food. You're not eating the whole cow. You're not just chewing into that. It's been taken off an animal. It's been cleaned. It's been sorted. It's been processed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's still it's better than, for example, a substitute meat. Or
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So, and then that was a bit of an update in terms of the what are they called?
Aprons, yep.
Those sorts of things.
Will be in the post in the next couple of days. It has been a manufacturing delay, let's say.
Yeah. And
I was due to actually do it last week. I think those were on the call last week. I think I mentioned that I was getting a little bit unwell. From Wednesday night, I crashed and pretty much crashed until yesterday. Yesterday was my first day of actually being human again.
Yep. And then so someone else has been in the manufacturing factory. So little security boards to just and to remind to you to be metabolically balanced. So so that's what's coming your way. And then really, I suppose we're into the wrap-up phase. There's going to only be a few more cards. The cards in your feed you can always come back to, so have no fear on those. And then the AI meal planners will also be accessible by you as well, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Jackie, I'll take yours offline. I'm going to chat with you because there was a thing we found with yours, but I'll explain why yours weren't there. But you should have additional meal plans there now.
Yes, so they'll all be there.
Yeah.
So so look, apart from that, that's pretty much just about a wrap, right?
Yeah, look, I think probably more just sort of talking about, so there's a couple of things probably I wanted to just sort of quickly talk about. We've still got a little bit of time. So obviously navigating the Christmas period, we've been talking about this for the last few weeks. The first thing with Christmas is enjoy every second of it. Like enjoy being, if you're with your family, enjoy being with your family. If you are going overseas, enjoy going overseas. Enjoy the time away from work. I hope all of us will actually have a time where we actually step away and enjoy that. I mean, obviously be mindful around those times, but the main thing is to enjoy those. Then somebody actually spoke to me today about the January detox, like hitting it hard in January, let's detox and this. I'm not opposed to doing a January detox, but I'm opposed to doing a January detox without a plan. If you're going to go through a detox, if you're going to set yourself up, what's your plan post that detox? Is your plan to be focused and mindful? Is it to do a 2-day detox to get the Christmas food out and then just go back to doing what you're doing? Like that to me is like, just don't do it. Like really, if you're going to, like a detox on the body is a trauma to the body. It is cleansing the body. I'm sure we all go back to the very first time we did the metabolic balance cleanse. And I know for me, it was like fatigued, joint pain. I didn't get the headaches. You got the headaches a lot. So you're putting your body through a stress to kind of rid it of the toxins that it has. So making sure if you are going to cleanse in the new year, come out of it with that plan. Do your weekly planning. Know what you've got in front of you to sort of then set the year up.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be key. It's been interesting as the year's gone on, how we've kind of, I don't know, we're pretty structured most of the time with meal planning and shopping and things like that. But I would say that it feels like it's been a big year, and sort of towards this tail end of the year, it's like, oh man. And so anyway, we're going to take the time and rest and relax, and then come back with some gusto, because what's 2025? You said it was the year of, I love to watch the recording.
Year of movement.
Year of movement. So yes, no, it is. I think it's time.
And it's interesting. I've had a few people actually reach out in the last couple of days saying they actually want a new plan in January. So that is also an option for anybody that would like to go through it. If it's been a while since you have had a plan, you can just replan. We get bloods done and we just provide a new plan. Sometimes they are quite different. Sometimes they are not that different, but it can
Mine
give
wasn't
that.
that different. I got one after a couple of years, and but what I found, it was like almost like a whole reset. It was like doing the whole thing again.
Yeah,
So
your
that was
portion
really
sizes
good.
were different, weren't they?
Yeah, actually, I got
Yeah.
more food.
You got more food.
Yeah,
Which was interesting because weight was less than when you started, but
I
you
got
were
more
told to
food.
actually eat more food
Yeah,
because metabolism was working so much faster.
yeah, it
So,
was interesting. So yeah, so
and I got camel milk.
and you did, yeah,
I
that's
got my
right.
camel, which I love. So
Yes, me not so much. I'm not a big camel milk fan. So yeah, I guess as we sort of near towards a wrap.
yeah, just want to say thank you
Thank
everybody
you.
for being on the journey.
And for those who are watching the recordings,
it's
we do get a
kept
lot of feedback from the recordings.
Some focus within the last 6
And
weeks.
Katie, thank you very much for all of your advice, and thanks for the healthy tips along the way and your ever-present energy. It's just awesome, so
Thank
infectious.
you.
And yeah, so thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Good job. Here we go again. So yeah, rocking into Christmas, and then yeah, can't
Yeah.
wait. Like next year, yeah, it's
We'll
gonna
have
be
a new
good, and
Vitality
there'll be
starting
Vitality, no doubt.
in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think we'll look at February.
Okay. So
But I've got a
yeah, so
question with
yes.
Nudge. Can we still access the community page after we finish our program?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, you
Because
can.
I think that would be a really good thing. If anyone's struggling with anything or has any questions, shoot a message in and
Yes.
kind of use that accountability to help each other out.
Good one, Katie. Yep. Fantastic.
Yeah, Nudge doesn't go away. The
just
feed
consistently sit
still
there,
stays
yeah.
there. So you can sort of go back over that. The community's there, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Very, very cool.
Jackie's got a question.
I just had one question. It was a 6-week program. Is there another meal planner coming out? I've got 5.
Yeah, you'll have 6. So yeah.
I think you changed a few dates of when you wanted to get your plan.
Sorry?
Yes, you'll have 6.
There will be 6.
There will be another one.
There'll be a 6th one. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. So you can grab that, and that'll be there. And so we'll need to make sure. Yeah, Jackie, for some reason, yeah, the generation of your plans went a bit south. I'm not so sure what happened there, but anyway, you'll be good to go.
No, it's okay.
You've got 5 at the moment, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
you'll have a 6th. Yeah. But in this week we'll send another one. So, and that's always there for you as well. So you can always log on to that too. So yeah, awesome. All right, Lyndall, have you got any questions? Given that you're on your phone, you might be driving, so hopefully you're not fumbling for your mute key.
No, not driving, but no questions. Thanks so much though for all these sessions. They've been really great.
Nah, no worries.
Lyndall.
And have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and for everyone who's watching this later on, have a Merry Christmas. We'll be in Melbourne.
We will.
We're heading and pointing the car south on Thursday. Yeah,
Next week.
So we're going to drive down to Melbourne. So road trip. Look out. So Katie's going off over to Europe. So that should be fun.
On Saturday, very excited.
Yes. So that sounds awesome. So whatever it is you're doing, have a fabulous Christmas and Happy New Year. And hopefully some of the mindset and have a healthy Christmas as well, which is what it's all about. And enjoy those friends. And here comes 2025, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Awesome. See you all later. Okay, bye.